Pardon me. Are you looking for Timaeus?
No. Just strange for him to not be around. Paimon always sees.
I see. He was called away by Альбедо a little while ago. I'm Sucrose, Альбедо's assistant. If you have any alchemy-related queries, you could always ask me. I do my best to help. Huh? Do I look nervous? My apologies. I don't get out too often. If you need any help, just call my name. If not, I'll...
Thanks. No worries. We're all clued up on the basics of alchemy, aren't we?
Hey! Aren't you the legendary traveler? The one who repelled Storm Terror? I've heard so many stories about you. Always wanted an opportunity to...
What do you mean, research?
Sorry, don't mind me. Still, you'd definitely be able to help Альбедо. It is you...
There's that name again, Альбедо. Is he also an alchemist in Mondstadt?
Apologies. I never introduced him. Альбедо is the Knights of Favonia's chief alchemist. He's also Timaeus and my teacher.
But Paimon's only ever seen Timaeus teaching alchemy. So that means Альбедо is a teacher?
Yes. He's dedicated himself to investigating the truth of this world. We often get alchemists coming to Mondstadt from all over Teyvat, seeking his help. They say that the subtlest of guidance from Mr. Альбедо helps him to solve the...
Wow! Paimon didn't know he was such a big deal.
Still, it seems that he's encountered a problem in his research recently. Every time I see him, he has a concerned look on his face. I'm sure that Альбедо would love to hear about your incredible exploits. I know Альбедо is a true gentleman. He'll be sure to pay you back in equal measure for helping him out. I don't see why not. Testing the limits of living beings' capabilities is one of Альбедо's areas of research after all. Альбедо and Timaeus will be conducting research in the mountains right now. I'd love to take you both to see him, but somebody has to attend to the store. I'm afraid you'll have to go to the entrance to the pass and look for him by yourselves. Look out for a refined gentleman with the presence... Sorry. That's the best I can do.
Hey, stop worrying. We got this. Sucrose is a whole lot less nervous once she gets talking about alchemy and research, huh? Anyway, let's go and look for Альбедо.
Sister Rosaria! So here you are! Choir practice is about to...
I've told you already, I don't go in for that kind of thing. I've got more important matters to attend.
Oh, but this event has commemorative significance. The church
Hopes? That's odd, because I don't recall a fulfill the hopes of others clause in my job description.
I mean, sure, but...
But what? You're the event organizer, aren't you? Do you not find it the least bit odd?
What do you mean?
This far out from Mondstadt at this hour? Even if you set out right now, I'll wager you'd still miss the opening ceremony. Who knows? Maybe this is someone's grand plan to make a fool out of you.
Huh? Well, that can't be. People aren't like that.
Evidence decides what people are like, not your feelings. Maybe you're a little too trusting of other people. Don't fret, nobody's gonna blame you if you go back empty-handed. I can't imagine anyone else was delusional enough to think I was gonna show up. But if you dally any longer, you really won't make it.
You're right. It's a very important commemorative event. If I'm late, then... right, I've gotta get going.
Seems like that sister's an expert in making people believe anything she wants.
I thought I heard something. Who are you and why are you eavesdropping?
We'd better watch out. She seems like a dangerous villain. Or a...
Oh, really? I'm a member of the long-standing Favonius Church. You're an eavesdropping pixie from who knows where. And you think I'm the trickster?
Wait, she heard that? But Paimon was whispering so quietly.
And as for this outlander you seem to be following... So it's you. The honorary knight that saved us from storm terror. Well then, given your status, I won't press. Otherwise, depending on your answer, I could have arrested you on the spot.
What? Do the Sisters of Mondstadt have the authority to arrest people now?
We can't go turning a blind eye to hidden dangers, can we? Why shouldn't sisters have a sense of justice?
That doesn't sound right. But Paimon can't think of a good comeback.
Let's talk about you. What are you doing in the mountains? If it's him you're after, I made a point of noting his tracks. Many people have made their way up after the snowstorm. Let's hope they're still there.
So, are you also looking for him?
No, this is just a professional habit of mine. I sensed elemental traces in these tracks. Never hurts to be vigilant. I couldn't care what you think. Come on then. I'd like to see what he's up to anyway.
Rosaria said there were elemental traces in the tracks. They should show up pretty clearly with elemental sight. It's getting colder and colder. Rosaria, aren't you freezing?
Me? I'm all right. I got used to operating in adverse conditions a long time ago.
Huh? Seems like there's more to being a sister in the Favonius Church than Paimon realized. Is that Albedo? Why would he hang
The word on the street is he loves painting. He'll hang around anywhere for a good landscape. The views and scenery here are pretty good. Potential paintings everywhere you look.
But can't he see those hilly churros? Isn't he in danger? Uh-oh. Looks like he startled them. Enough talk! Let's take them out of the picture first.
Who are you? Why did you alarm them? Thank the gods I'd already completed my painting. Would have been a shame to leave these particular hilly churls unfinished.
What's up with painting hilly churls? What makes them so interesting?
I'm afraid the answer isn't easy to explain. If you'd like to have a look at my painting, it may give you a clue.
Wow! Look at the detail! But some of it seems to have been done in a hurry.
You can find these hilly churls anywhere. Quite boring, in fact. Not worth. But take a look at this specimen. The build, the coat, and there's a distinct force at work here. In the cyclical lives of such primitive communities, such unique attributes are an indication of evolution at work. Evolution, the transition from nothing into existence, from the known to the
Hold your horses. Something tells me we're in for a thesis and I haven't got the stamina. We found your man. I'm headed back.
What? Don't you have any questions for him? Hey! What a weirdo.
So Sister Rosaria brought you. Surprising. And I didn't have time to thank her. But back to the point. From her words, it seems that you were looking for me?
We met a girl in Mondstadt, Sucrose. She said you were stuck with your research.
I see. So Sucrose sent you here. Then, if I'm not mistaken, you must be the honorary knight. You've got the whole of Mondstadt. I've heard a bit of everything. Your actions during Storm Terror's attack, I'll skip to the conclusion. There's only one possibility after all. Excellent. If I could procure your assistance, I think my research would... Forgive me. This must be confusing. Where should I begin?
Whoa, whoa. You want to start with that?
You're right. Giving a demonstration would be better than trying to explain. For example, awakening life. Breathing new life into fallen leaves.
You can do that?
However, I have a particular seed in my possession. The method I'm talking about has produced no results. It's like you, in that it hails from another world, helping it to grow, to bloom. That's the problem my research is up against. That's where I need your assistance.
Well, if you're struggling to figure it out, Paimon's not sure we're gonna be much assistance.
I beg to differ. I'm unable to comprehend the intricacies of life outside of the known world. But you're not from the known world. By observing and researching you, I may just be able to find a way to get...
Shall we just get out of here? This sounds a little freaky.
It's possible. But I will do everything in my control to ensure your safety. Time for a change of surroundings. We should be going.
Альбедо and that traveler seem to have hit it off. Takes a weirdo to know one, I guess. I wonder, does this constitute a risk to Mondstadt?
Paimon has a question. After the seed sprouts, will it grow?
I don't know. But I feel the importance will lie in the method, not the endpoint. Using alchemy to awaken otherworldly life into that would constitute a big leap in my understanding of the essence of life. After awakening, even creation may be... Still a little difficult to understand?
No! Paimon's got a brain! But what's the seed gonna become? Isn't that more interesting?
Well, if it turns out to be a delicious fruit...
Yay! Paimon's holding you to it.
Well, let's just say I, occasionally have to look after a child. Another lengthy explanation, I'm afraid. The subject of my first research was the elements. In this world, manipulating the elements requires a vision. How you're able to freely manipulate elemental power is something I'd like to ascertain. Firstly, do you have any extra organs? A second heart? A fourth stomach? Fascinating. And this floating child is...
What a stupid question! Can't you see the gap between us? And another thing, it's Paimon, not floating child.
I was merely considering the possibility that you were an external organ. Perhaps there is some invisible force connecting you. Oh, that rules out that possibility. But that would mean that Paimon's elemental power would be enough to break through a mountain rock at least 10 meters thick, or cause the waterfall south of Springville to flow backwards. No, that definitely can't be it.
Hey! How would you know anyway?
In that case, it would appear that there's no obvious difference between the composition of your... Given that there's clearly a discrepancy in the research, it seems that only experimentation... Firstly, this mysterious elemental power. Let me lure a few slimes to the area. Perhaps you'd be able to defeat them.
Huh? Doesn't seem very...
Direct and clear observation are imperative to a good experiment. This is just a simple exercise. Naturally, if you require a greater challenge, we could bring in 6 Ocean.
Slimes! Slimes are fine!
Well, prepare yourself. The slimes will be... Great work. Did you feel anything? If you're injured, I have a few emergency potions ready. Excellent. According to my observations, the manifestation of the external elemental flow is as expected. Now that we know that the external flow is manifesting normally, let's test the internal flow.
Internal flow?
It's very simple. I can use alchemy to create a If the elemental power is stored or accumulated physically within your body, this potion may elicit an elemental reaction.
Sounds kinda...
Don't worry. In the normal course of events, you'd feel some temporary queasiness. And
in the...
If anything unexpected occurs, I've made the necessary preparation. Well, it's not that there aren't any risks involved. But if there is anything blocking your elemental... Just a warning. If an internal elemental reaction occurs for any other reason... Yes, that's an excellent way to think about it. Before we get started, The potion, it's a type of ore known as star silver. But unfortunately, not all. I'll take you to my campsite. We can gather some star silver ore on the way. I'll point out any. All going to plan. We should be able to begin concocting the potion.
Paimon's still got a few. Let's keep our eyes open.
Solidify!
What luck. This should be enough. My campsite is just up ahead. I'll lead the way. This is my campsite. I've added the materials we collect. While we are waiting, have a look over here. My assistant Timaeus here is helping me with my research. I'm guess-
Hello! I've just gotten hold of the data from your experiment.
Whoa! Look at all the data! You got all.
I wouldn't call them results, inferences, and a few daring guesses. I think the most rational direction would be to expound on the phylogenetic relationship between this traveler and the slimes. Consider. You don't have a vision, but you following this line of thought, I'm sure we'll be able to establish a basis in.
Not bad for a point of entry. But strictly speaking, slimes are elemental life forms. A cryoregisvine, or even a wildflower might be a better analogy. But tracing back the phylogenetic relationships between plants and in that sense, things might get difficult, don't you think?
Yes, sir. That sounds correct.
After all, we've got our primary data already. If it turned out that he did have a phylogenetic relationship with this world...
Ah, it would. Apologies. I was so... Speaking of data, to complete our research, we'll need some more. I'll be conducting analysis here for the time being.
Great, I'll leave you to it. Looks like the potion's ready. I'll try a little first. In line with my expectations. Ready to drink. Remember to keep calm at all times, and breathe deeply if you feel unwell.
Tasty? You've got a funny look on your face. You said you tried some already. You sure it was ready? What?
Oh, this was the result I was expecting. And this potion channels elemental power into the body. Under normal circumstances. But if the internal elemental flow is unimpeded, you'll only experience momentary discomfort.
So you knew you'd be sick and still drank some?
It was my own concoction, of course. Only natural for me to be the guinea pig. Perhaps it's just scholarly self-assurance, and it certainly speeds things up. In conclusion, I'd say we have our conclusion. As far as elemental energy is concerned,
Aw, Paimon wanted something cooler to happen.
then again, better an ordinary result than a peculiar result. Peculiar results have a tendency to be of the... undesirable. The good thing about ordinary is that everything is an object of reference, and everyone understands you. People are the same, they can understand, empathize, encourage, and support one another. When you're sick, a doctor can diagnose you because they are you. When something goes wrong, but a peculiar person. They don't have much recourse. For example, a human can't understand the life of a pyroregisvine, or an Eye of the Storm. To sum up, this has been a positive outcome. Going forward, Timaeus, the results of the new experiment are out. If you could...
Just a moment, sir. I'll handle it. You gave me a lot to consider. Having you down as an animal wasn't very precise of me, but starting with the premise of an elemental life form? Now...
Not bad. I think it's an interesting line of inquiry. Whatever the truth of the matter, I'd like your
You can count on me, sir.
Is he trying to join the Knights? He's starting to sound... what Paimon meant to say was... That's the spirit?
Before we can proceed with our research, I need to... If you're interested, why not have a look around? It may... I'm back. Did you see anything interesting? Not to worry. They're all for alchemical purposes. You'd be well, on with the research. There may be significant differences between different worlds. Take Tevat, for example. Here, those with visions but worlds may well exist where only one person is able to do so. Or even so, leaving elements to one side. Do you possess... I think answering this question calls for the same methodology as last time. In other words, time for the next experiment. No. You shan't be required to exert... Now, see this pillar here? Use your willpower to try and break it. That was your best effort?
What's with the disappointment? Isn't that, like, impossible?
Have you tried using your elemental power with food? I don't mean for cooking, as such. I'm curious to see how the taste and texture respond. It may even help with proliferate. I suppose I have a curiosity for things that others find surprising. Anyway, why don't you cook us up a sunshine sprat? I've just finished
Cooking? Paimon was looking forward to more mad scientist stuff.
Not only is this recipe a staple for me, it's also worth experimenting with and highly...
Paimon bets you're just hungry. That does sound yummy, though. Okay, Paimon approves. Good buddies are always on the same page.
I'll leave you to it then. Looking forward to the... If there's anything left over, maybe Timaeus...
Paimon doesn't think we'll have that problem. How are we gonna channel elemental power into the food? Maybe try the willpower thing again. Where does it get these ideas from anyway? Let's just do it the old-fashioned.
That was fast. An average outcome experimentally, but you've really brought out the flavor. As far as the proliferation hypothesis is concerned, we've come up short. Seems like food presents the same... Unless... Could it be that the natural laws of the...
We just didn't know how to channel elemental power into the food. It's a little more complicated.
Not to worry. At least we put some food to good use. No need to... And here's your portion. Enjoy. I can box it up.
Woohoo! Thanks! Glad you were paying attention.
I can tell that you're good friends. Paimon was keeping an eye on you and your safety during the whole experiment. Not that Paimon would have been able to do much if things had gone wrong. But anyway.
Hey! You were being nice a second ago! But you do have tasty recipes, so Paimon forgives you. And you're right, we are good friends. You have good friends too, right?
Yes. I'm fortunate too, I suppose. There are all manner of alchemical items here. Keeping them in their proper place is a challenge at the best of times. A while I managed to retrieve the majority, but 2 vials have been evading me. Animal...
Paimon's barely finished eating and you want us to go...
Don't worry if you can't locate them. I was planning to replace them anyway. Though finding them... If you had, say, superpower, like night vision or vibratory sensing, I must have dropped them somewhere in the area where you were looking just now.
So, guess we'd better take a look. Oh yeah! You could use strong.
Goodness, you managed to find them. I'm wondering, this elemental sight...
Yep, guess it does sort of count as a superpower.
Unfortunately, though elemental sight is seldom seen, only a never-before-seen otherworldly power would be...
You mean, we failed?
Don't be disheartened. This falls entirely within my expectations. Besides, I have to commend your deduction that the items would contain elemental trace. Right then. Up until now, our research has focused on your otherworldly identity. Our research on your identity is, in essence, the differences between humans are reflected in our intellectual, looking out from where we're standing. Can you see what Sucrose is doing? And if you jump from here and landed on that cliff, the one over there. So what about if you planted a single blow on the mountain face here, and it burst into 1,000,000 fragments? Then could you see her? Then I shouldn't get too excited. Still, we'll gain a more thorough understanding with the... I know of a location that will be perfect for a physical test. Please. Not necessarily. Not if you know of a better method, that is. Whichever method you choose, the experiment will end when you reach the opposite shore of the lake. I will factor the time expended and your top speed into my comparative analysis.
The opposite side of the lake. So, we're gonna be swimming?
Without limitations, we complete tasks intuitively, using the method that seems most Some of us would be unable to stand the icy waters. Others might find the whole thing rather refreshing. No matter what choice you make, it's all a part of the experiment. For me, then if you would, please, I eagerly await. Great work. I've never seen it before. Your reputation precedes you, traveler. The data shows that you're easily outperformed.
But you followed us the whole way without breaking.
Me? Actually, I used alchemy to cheat a... If it turns out that the natural laws of Tavad do not affect you, I should be able to make various If the natural laws of Tavad do affect you, then I shall be able to make inferences into the innumerable possibilities that this could present.
But how does this help your research?
You've helped me to unravel many of the problems that were holding it back. When we return, I may be about to make some analogies between you and a few unusual specimens. I hope you won't be gold, petrified trees, a sun 8 times the size of our... The essence of the investigative process is enthralling. I'm willing to pour all my energy into research, and yet specimens are finite. All these things that start out as objects of fascination end up possessing the prosaic mundanity of us.
Oh, so that's why you wanted to paint those hilly turtles? Because you got to see something new?
Precisely. To quote my exact words from earlier, these creatures are, for the most part...
So after all these experiments, are we gonna be like...
Of course not. You have been of great assistance to me. Now, before we head back to the campsite, there's one more. Follow me. There are some other ruins. I imagine you must have encountered more than a few conundrums during your travel. I'd like to observe your intelligence by means of a practical test of your capabilities. Much as I'd like you to explore these ruins and return with your There are 2 puzzles located at the far ends of the ruins. After completion, you should be able to activate the mechanism in the... As with the physical test, there are no restrictions. Everything you do is an action I wish to observe. Remember that this is a test of intellect. So, let's see you in action. Start. It should now be possible to activate the central mechanism. Exactly what will happen when you do is something I'm looking forward to finding out. Oh, seems that the water level has suddenly decreased. We should be able to see what's in the water now. Let's have a look. What's this? To the best of my knowledge, these belong to a script of some kind. They can be There's still a lot to learn about them. And as for why they should ever have... Let me make a copy first. I'll make time to go over them in greater detail after...
Another thing for the don't understand list. Unsolvable Seems like if you want the reward, you gotta pay the price.
I've truly gained a lot from all this. Comparatively. The little Let me return to the campsite first. By the time you get back, I may just have a fleeting miracle for you to witness.
Paimon's kinda looking forward to seeing the results of all this. Unless you can think of anything better to do, let's head back to the campsite.
Not so fast. You're not leaving until I'm convinced that nothing dangerous is going on.
You didn't...
I most certainly did not. And I've witnessed everything that you and Альбедо have been up to. I must say, you let your guards down. Or maybe you were drawn in by his compelling-sounding hypothesis and friendly demeanor. Taking orders from a complete stranger? Drinking a I'd sooner believe you were tricked than that you would be so naive. Or perhaps...
Sister Rosaria's guard's so high, she can't even see over the top of it.
It doesn't matter what you think. He could be a saint for all you know. But I understand him a little better than you. I'm only concerned with one thing. Whether his alchemy has transformed you into something more sinister.
No way! Paimon would have sensed it. And anyway, he didn't even use any of...
With an alchemist of his level, you wouldn't sense a thing. In any case, I'm not about to let a potential
So, what are you gonna do?
I've got to hand it to you. You have your moments. I've investigated everything else. The only items...
But we don't even know what...
That much is true. But for insurance purposes, I'd better make a copy. Now then, all things considered, I deem... which is what I was hoping. I would have been one very unhappy sister if you'd made me work overtime on your account.
Overtime?
Before we go our separate ways, Outlander, a word of advice. Don't be so quick to trust Альбедо, and don't repeat the same mistakes that you did this time. You made a lot of rash decisions today.
She's gone! So stubborn. Mondstadt doesn't have many people like that. Huh. Never mind her. Let's go see Альбедо.
You're back. Good timing. You took quite a while. Did you get held up on the way back? I wouldn't worry. She's just doing her job. Time for the results. We got a myriad of data today, and it was very difficult. But the integral preliminary conclusion that I can offer you is...
You couldn't tell that just by looking? We spent all day working our butts off for that?
Please, I understand that this may have seemed self-evident to you, but in fact, nothing in this world... Have you ever considered that the world of Teyvat may have a natural hostility to Outlanders? I mentioned the natural laws of this world. You're able to converse with me here without consequence, and nothing... The only other life form that, like you, has come here from afar is this... But after I observed you, imitating you helped to inspire my alchemy. And so...
Whoa! It looks like something's appearing!
The transition from nothing into something, from shoot to stem, and now to fruition. Is not nurturing otherworldly life also nurturing the world itself?
Aww.
It would seem that that's as far as we go. A transient bloom of incomparable beauty.
Paimon thought, with all our efforts, it might have bloomed forever. And
Life is a manifold tapestry of free entities. Its value shouldn't derive from how long. A short life can be well lived. A life lived efficiently, lived to perfection, is necessarily one unburdened by loneliness. So, do you understand what I meant about us conversing here arguably being a small miracle?
things feel... Don't be sad. You've got... Альбедо, Paimon really wants to be your friend.
Thank you both. Even if dispelling loneliness is not essential for life, your help inspired me to discover the means to make a flower bloom. I mean that the time I've spent traveling with you in the mountains was a valuable journey for me. In the future, if the need arises, can I solicit your help again? Well, glad I can count on you. I made a point throughout of telling him how ordinary the results were. But what was that sediment I saw forming at the bottom of the vial? It should not have been there. What could it mean? Those born of Earth are bound by its imperfections, but those born of chalk are free of impurities. You and I are alike, both composed of a substance that has yet... If, one day, I lose control, destroy Mondstadt, can I rely on you to stop me?